I still vividly remember unboxing the original Steam Deck and having my mind blown by the never-before-possible performance stuffed inside such a tiny chassis. But as cutting-edge as it felt, nagging compromises like battery life, an underwhelming screen, and occasional stability hiccups prevented true greatness. Well, after spending some time pushing the OLED model to its limits, I'm thrilled to say Valve didn't just refine the previous formula, they perfected and mastered it. With a brighter and more colorful OLED display, 30% slimmer profile, 50% longer battery, cooler thermals, and various thoughtful design upgrades, this so-called iterative update feels like an outright rebirth. One that finally nails the elusive promise of no-compromise handheld PC gaming. If you even remotely care about gaming on the go, you need to see this decked-out new beast in action. So stick with me as we explore every upgrade through fun comparatives and raw performance benchmarks. Fair warning though, once you witness the silky smooth gunplay on a cutting-edge OLED screen barely bigger than a smartphone, your definition of portable may be forever redefined. But before we begin, we'd like you guys to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hit that notification bell icon so you don't miss out on amazing and entertaining content. At first glance, you might have a hard time telling apart the OLED and the original Steam Deck models. But take a closer look and you'll notice Valve made quite a few thoughtful design tweaks that refine the overall experience. Starting with the aesthetics, the new OLED model sports a slick black finish on the thumbsticks, along with an orange accent power button. Subtle changes, but they give this handheld a more premium look and feel. And in terms of ergonomics and portability, Valve put in some serious work as well. They managed to shave the weight down by nearly 30 grams to 640 total. I know that might not seem like much on paper, but believe me, the reduction makes a surprisingly notable difference in hand comfort during longer gaming sessions. The new model just rests more naturally in your palms, with less bulk and density to support. And the slightly slimmer dimensions help too. After extended gaming periods, my hands definitely stay fresher for more battles, compared to the heftier original Steam Deck chassis. A few other design tweaks to mention, Valve reworked the trackpad to deliver richer haptic feedback. It's hard to demonstrate the subtle differences in feel, but I describe the new sensation almost like shifting from hard plastic to soft rubber response. It's a small detail, but contributes to that enhanced fit and finish. The thumbstick material got upgraded too, with a grippier textured coat that your thumbs cling to more securely during intense Elden Ring dodging. No more slip-sliding around. And I really think they nailed the tactile thumbstick improvements. Oh, and for portability, the 1TB OLED model comes with a slimmer second carrying case hidden within the primary hardshell case, so you can travel light when needed without sacrificing device protection. Really smart dual case implementation. And even with the minor nips and tucks, I assure you the button layout and core design remains identical to the original Steam Deck. The handling stays familiar, for better or worse, depending on your preferences. Yep, it's still a chunky handheld gaming PC beast. Love it or leave it. But let's shift our gaze to the front, where Valve made the most dramatic design changes. By trimming down those screen bezels and upgrading to a stunning 7.4-inch OLED display, this new model really catches eyes with slick modern tech styling, especially when HDR effects blast the screen to life. But more on that in a minute. Alright, let's dive into this dazzling 7.4-inch OLED screen in all of its glory. Because honestly, it deserves some serious gushing and praise. We're talking a 1,000,000-to-1 contrast ratio that enables true inky blacks, plus a searing 600 to 1000 nit peak brightness in supported games and media for unmatched vibrance. Comparing the OLED model side by side with the original Steam Deck is almost startling. It's just a massive night and day difference in image quality. Where the old LCD screen looked a bit lifeless and washed out, this new display pops with intricate visual details, precise colors, and stellar clarity. Seriously, boot up an HDR-enabled powerhouse like Spider-Man Remastered on this OLED beauty. The way the light refracts off of puddles on the street, the golden glow of sunrise washing across skyscrapers, the insane texture resolution on Spidey's suit close-ups. It's simply stunning stuff. And the best part? Steam OS and the Deck OLED play nice together right out of the box for practically seamless HDR implementation. No messing around with wonky settings or display modes. For the most part, it just works beautifully. Although I really wish the Steam library featured more built-for HDR games to take proper advantage. Devs still have some catching up to do there. But when an HDR showpiece, like Ori and the Will of the Wisps, kicks into high gear, the blossoming color and dazzling light effects easily rival premium OLED TVs. It's some seriously impressive stuff. Beyond the OLED panel itself, Valve also boosted the display refresh rate up to a smooth 90 Hz, compared to 60 Hz on the original Steam Deck. Now, realistically, the hardware can't push modern AAA 3D titles anywhere close to 90 FPS. But even when capping frame rates around 40 FPS or so, everything from animation to controls feels noticeably snappier and responsive thanks to the higher refresh overhead. I'd compare it to scrolling social media on a 90 Hz phone screen versus 60 Hz. Static elements like text might not change, but that faster redraw rate makes all motion and transitions feel almost weirdly fluid. So while the beefier GPU power isn't quite there yet, the smooth 90 Hz screen is primed for higher frame rates down the road. My only real display knock is the 800p resolution feels a bit dated compared to Windows handheld rivals nearing 1200p outputs. No doubt a higher pixel density would be nice, but factoring the deck's smaller size, combined with the stellar OLED performance and flawless HDR, I barely notice or care about the resolution difference compared to LCD alternatives. At the end of the day, this is hands down the most gorgeous, visually impressive panel ever featured on a handheld gaming device. And that cinematic fidelity goes a long way in itself. Shifting gears to software, the OLED Steam Deck sticks with Valve's Linux-based SteamOS out of the box. And I've gotta say, it retains that friendly console-inspired vibe that makes navigation a breeze. Zippy smooth performance whether browsing your game library, the Steam storefront, or hopping between apps. Compared to Windows-based handheld rivals, SteamOS really streamlines the user experience to focus strictly on gaming goodness. It auto-updates seamlessly in the background without annoying prompts or lag, and so far in my testing, noticeably fewer random crashes or freezes too. Although I do wish Valve expanded the verified and playable Steam game catalog more aggressively over the past 2 years. It's still hit or miss booting up unverified titles, which often need community tweaks to run properly without quirks. So, a fair warning to new owners. Enjoying the full Steam library still requires some tinkering if you've got a large backlog of older or obscure titles. Definitely do your homework researching games before purchasing to set proper expectations. I'd also still love to see native integration with other game launchers like Xbox and Epic Games for broader support. Windows handhelds include these out of the box. Streaming works okay as a workaround on deck, but direct app support would be nice for those libraries. Now, longtime Steam Deck owners or experienced Linux users can certainly install Windows for a more open ecosystem, but that forfeits the friendly SteamOS console experience. So for most gamers, sticking with the detailed OS is the move. At the end of the day, Valve chose quality over quantity here, optimizing for Steam gaming first and foremost. Does the tighter environment come with some quirks and limitations? Absolutely. But it also pays off through buttery smooth performance. Pick your poison. Okay, let's dig into this bad boy's performance and specs. Now, true to iterative form, Valve markets the OLED model as an evolution over the original, not a full-blown 2.0 sequel. But peek under the hood, and you'll discover some meaningful upgrades that do enhance real-world gaming. Front and center lies AMD's refreshed custom APU, now built using an efficient 6nm manufacturing process that saves power and runs cooler than last-gen 7nm chip. So you'll squeeze out a bit more playtime on battery while generating less annoying fan noise. 2 big practical wins in my book. Do these under-the-hood tweaks suddenly allow the OLED model to effortlessly crush modern AAA powerhouses compared to its predecessor? Well, not quite. Visually lush open worlds like Starfield still push the hardware beyond playable frames. Future titles will surely continue to widen that fidelity gap over time as well. But through the refined architecture, I have noticed slightly faster loading, fewer occasional frame hitches, and less input lag in controller-heavy titles. So while not reinventing performance outright, Valve's changes do provide a better baseline experience game to game. The extra system RAM likely helps smooth things out too, although 512GB already felt sufficient for SteamOS overhead. I appreciate the cushion looking ahead though. And great news for home Wi-Fi 6E networks, the OLED model supports the faster standard for reduced latency when streaming or downloading on compatible routers. Handy cutting-edge feature to carry the deck towards the future as wireless tech keeps evolving. So at the end of the day, savvy engineering decisions like the smaller chip process, improved cooling, and touch-ups like added memory demonstrate Valve's commitment to optimizing efficiency and stability rather than just chasing raw power claims. And for a handheld, that's the smart play for balanced performance in my book. Now, for the exciting upgrades: battery life. Poor endurance was truly the bane of early adopters' existence, but after just 2 to 3 hours, they'd already be scavenging for the nearest wall outlet. Talk about damaging that on-the-go gaming pitch. Thankfully, Valve took feedback to heart and attacked battery longevity from multiple angles this time around. First up, they straight up increased capacity by 25%, with a chunky new 50 watt-hour battery compared to 40 watt-hours before. More juice right off the bat. Then they optimized the surrounding components and software to eke out every last efficiency gain. The refreshed AMD APU alone draws notably less power thanks to its 6nm architecture improvements. And the OLED screen sips energy at lower brightness settings too, compared to power-hungry older LCDs. Add it all up, and Valve promises 30 to 50% longer runtime depending on how aggressively you tweak performance profiles and frame rates. Now, realistically, the Steam Deck still won't come close to the 10+ hours your phone or Switch handles. But with conscious tweaking, 5+ hours is totally achievable during a full gaming session now. And let me tell you, my friends, that flexibility makes all the difference. Finally providing adequate battery to comfortably enjoy long trips away from the socket. Now, don't expect such heroic feats playing intensive 3D titles without lowering resolution scaling, frame rates, etc. The hardware can only do so much magic. But the technology is finally here to prevent battery life from ruining extended mobile play. About time, am I right? Just remember to toggle battery saver mode when traveling to automatically down-tune settings for extra mileage. Valve's power management software also forecasts estimated runtime so you can gauge sessions on the fly. While more longevity gains would always be welcomed, of course, I'd call the OLED model's endurance very reasonable, following this generation's massive improvements. We can finally game marathons on planes, trains, road trips, and beyond without battery killing the buzz. A job really well done by Valve addressing the elephant in the room. This once critical weakness now stands as a key selling point, adding tremendous flexible freedom. Alright everybody, that wraps up the Steam Deck OLED hands-on and comparison. From both aesthetic and technical upgrades, it's clear that Valve refined the winning formula into an even better handheld package. Between the slimmer form, massively improved OLED display and HDR support, longer battery, and other tweaks, early adopters have an enticing upgrade path, sans any new catches. And if you don't already own a Steam Deck, I wholeheartedly recommend skipping the original and grabbing the OLED. It's still not a perfect device, needing more verified games and missing some features found on Windows rivals, but thanks to a smart evolution that enhances efficiency and experience without raising the price, the Steam Deck OLED earns its title as the finest handheld gaming PC that money can buy. At least until Valve surprises us with a full-blown Steam Deck 2. But for now, this is the king of on-the-go PC gaming. Let me know what you think of the upgrades down below, and if you want to see more of these types of videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.